The women's 100 meter final at the World Athletics Championships in Doha 2025 was more than a race. It was the culmination of years of preparation, sacrifice, and ambition. The Khalifa International Stadium radiated anticipation as fans from every corner of the globe gathered to witness the fastest women in the world collide in a showdown that promised history. The 100 meter is athletics distilled to its purest form: power, precision, and nerves, compressed into less than 11 seconds. Doha, with its warm desert air and electrifying atmosphere, provided the perfect backdrop for this clash of sprinters. Each lane was occupied by athletes who had survived heats and semifinals, bringing with them records, rivalries, and the pressure of expectation. Every competitor represented not only personal ambition, but the pride of nations, carrying hopes far beyond the track. In this final, mistakes would be unforgiving, fractions of a second decisive, and composure essential. As silence fell before the start, the world held its breath, knowing the outcome would echo through sporting history. The final brought together an extraordinary mix of athletes, each with distinct strengths and stories. The United States entered with a sprinter renowned for explosive starts, a hallmark of consistency in global competition. Jamaica's representative carried the weight of legacy, aiming to extend the nation's dominance in sprinting. Great Britain fielded a rising star known for late-race acceleration that had unsettled opponents throughout the season. Nigeria's contender embodied resilience, carrying not only speed but a determination forged from countless setbacks. The Netherlands and Switzerland added European power, reminding the world that sprinting's reach is no longer confined to a handful of nations. Each athlete had endured the intensity of heats and semifinals, where composure and stamina were tested. By the time they reached the final, there was no margin for error. Lane assignments were studied, rivals assessed, and strategies silently calculated. The lineup symbolized the global growth of women's athletics, where excellence is no longer isolated, but contested across continents, creating an arena where history could change with every stride. As the athletes approached their blocks, the atmosphere in Doha grew electric. The stadium's noise rose, then hushed into tense silence as sprinters crouched into position. Every eye focused on the starting line, where a single misstep could decide destiny. For competitors, these moments before the gun were filled with an almost unbearable mix of nerves and focus. The 100-meter final is unforgiving. There is no time to recover from hesitation, no room to correct mistakes. Reaction times, measured in hundredths of a second, would shape the race as much as raw speed. Coaches in the stands watched intently, knowing their work was now in the athletes' hands. Fans clutched flags, holding their breath, sensing they were seconds away from witnessing greatness. For the runners, years of training condensed into the sound of one command: set. When the gun finally fired, it would release not just athletes down a track, but the collective weight of ambition, expectation, and history bound tightly into the shortest, most dramatic race in sport. The gun fired, and the women's 100-meter final exploded into motion. The first stride separated contenders from the field as reaction times translated instantly into momentum. The American sprinter surged forward with lightning precision, her start as sharp as predicted. Jamaica's representative responded fiercely, her explosive power propelling her alongside. Great Britain's contender, slower off the blocks, trusted her trademark late-race surge. Nigeria's athlete stormed into contention, proving determination could match legacy. The opening 30 meters were crucial, as acceleration phases defined positioning for the drive into full speed. Every athlete's form reflected years of training, arms driving, knees high, and bodies leaning into controlled aggression. By halfway, a clear battle had emerged, with the American and Jamaican athletes shoulder to shoulder. The crowd roared as rivals pushed their limits, aware that the smallest error could decide the race. In sprinting, fractions of seconds shape legends, and in this start, every stride set the foundation for an ending that promised to be unforgettable. By the 50-meter mark, the battle for supremacy intensified. The American sprinter maintained her blistering drive, her stride length carrying her with elegance and force. Yet Jamaica's representative surged with unmatched rhythm, narrowing the margin with every step. Behind them, Great Britain's athlete began her anticipated acceleration, her form smoothing as she transitioned into maximum velocity. Nigeria refused to relent, her determination evident in each stride, fighting to keep pace with the leading pack. The Dutch sprinter produced her strongest phase, ensuring Europe's presence in the battle, while Switzerland remained composed, chasing consistency over panic. The middle stage of the 100 members is decisive, where acceleration shifts into raw top speed and any loss of rhythm spells defeat. Here, the race became not just about strength, but about composure under immense pressure. Every sprinter was at full flight, the finish line drawing closer with terrifying speed. With leaders nearly inseparable, the final 30 meters promised a conclusion that would echo through athletics history for years to come. As the race entered its last 30 meters, the stadium erupted into chaos. Jamaica and the United States remained locked in battle, their strides perfectly synchronized in a display of power and determination. Great Britain's sprinter unleashed her late acceleration, closing the gap with a dramatic intensity. Nigeria's contender, gritting through exhaustion, refused to yield, driving her body forward with every ounce of strength. This was the defining sign where composure and mental strength matched physical power. Athletes leaned into the drive, their bodies at peak velocity, straining toward the line. The roar of the stadium blurred into a single wall of sound as fans recognized the finish was too close to call. In these final strides, years of preparation, countless sacrifices, and national hopes collided in breathtaking unison. The line loomed, and every sprinter threw themselves forward, knowing the difference between glory and heartbreak would be measured not in seconds but in fractions far too small for the human eye to see unaided. The finish line became a blur of motion as athletes crossed almost simultaneously, leaving the stadium in stunned silence before erupting into thunderous applause. The American and Jamaican sprinters seemed inseparable, their torso lean, deciding what the eye could not. Great Britain's runner lunged dramatically, placing herself within striking distance, while Nigeria and the Netherlands powered across with remarkable determination. The photo finish became essential as screens in the stadium replayed the decisive final strides in slow motion. Fans, coaches, and athletes held their breath as officials examined the footage. In the 100 meters, outcomes can hinge on 1/100th of a second, a margin too fine to be seen in real time. The suspense grew unbearable, tension crackling through the air. The stadium, filled moments earlier with explosive noise, now existed in suspended anticipation. This was the essence of sprinting: unpredictability, drama, and razor-thin margins that define champions. When the result finally appeared, it delivered both ecstasy and heartbreak, marking another unforgettable chapter in athletics history.